Well, yeah, so great to meet you. Um, so I'm curious, you're at Clive, is that right?
Yeah,
And what year are you?
I am going into my senior year now, which is kind of crazy how anticlimactic the end of my junior year was, but
Yeah.
senior.
Yeah, there's so many questions I want to ask you. And first of all, how do you think Berlin had an effect on your sound, or did it have an effect? Because I know that, you really seem to be mixing like lots of different genres. You have the more indie stuff, more pop, more electronic, and then even like some pretty dope like R&B influence as well. So how has that woven into your sound?
That's a really good question because that has kind of been what I've been trying to figure out since I came back from Berlin. Because I remember, going into that semester, I was like, oh, like I'm probably gonna come back and like be really into techno. And like I'm gonna be like one of those girls. Like I studied in Berlin. We took a course on German music history, and it really surprised me how much krautrock and a lot of these German producers influenced American music by way of like disco, like Giorgio Moroder with I Feel Love with like Donna Summer. Um, and I kind of came back with a new appreciation for electronic music that I felt like I had lost because my freshman year, I was working a lot with my friends who produced like electronic pop, and for a while, I was just kind of doing it because they were like, oh, you would sound great on this. And I was like, okay, like, I'm like, I'm finally like working with people that I enjoy working with, but maybe it's not really me. And then I went to Berlin and I really got into this almost like gothic synth rock. So I was really getting into New Order, Joy Division. Recently, I've been really getting into Russian New Wave, which I never thought
What
would.
is that?
So I don't know where it came from. I honestly don't know how it started getting so popular. I literally think it's because of TikTok, because all of these like little influencer accounts were making, like outfit of the day videos with like this crazy like new wave synth rock music, and it was all in Russian, and I was like, "Oh my god, what is this? I love it." So I've been listening to bands like Molchatoma and Volny. A lot of my writing material is kind of dark in a way. Like I've always tried to like, write like Carly Rae Jepsen, pop songs because she's amazing at that, and there are so many amazing pop writers that can write a song about, partying with your friends in the summertime. But then when I start writing, I'm like, oh God, this is kind of depressing. And I never really found a genre or a sound that could channel it in the way that I wanted to. But because of Berlin and like honestly this like depressing vibe, I finally kind of found a place where I was like, oh, I can make this sound, you know, good and the way that I want it to, and with all the influences that I've been using for so long.
Very cool. Really interesting perspective. Yeah, balancing that joy with tension and stuff across cultures must just be like, such a cool experience right now to be like flowering as a young artist and pulling in all these influences from everywhere. So that's really awesome. Um, yeah, I'm curious about I really couldn't help but notice that on your Spotify, it looks like you only have one single out there, but it has what, like 17K streams. Is that right?
Does it really have 17K now? Last time I
It's a
checked, it was
lot.
14. Yeah, it is a lot. I don't know. It's kind of like when in Rome for me is like reading like old diary entries. Like you're cringing and you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe at one point that was me. But you also appreciate it for it's like a marker of like how far you've come. I was writing for an EP that I was supposed to be releasing this summer, and Michelle Bay was going to be producing some of those other tracks, and I was going to bring some of the other demos that I've been sitting on to some musicians. Everything with COVID happened. So right now, I'm just kind of writing for myself, and honestly, this time and this isolation has given me kind of like a breather and a way to reprocess because I feel like I was rushing myself. You know, I just got back from Berlin. I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I have all these songs that I've been sitting on that I was writing in Germany. I'm going to get them produced and I'm just going to like release an EP in the summer. And like, I don't care if it's good or not. Like, I have these songs, like, I want people to hear them. And then I kind of had to like slam on the brakes. And now I have time to kind of mull over the stuff that I have. And I have more time to come up with more content that might suit the EP that I want to release more than the stuff that I already had.
I'm curious if you just got to meet any artists that are alive, who would that be? What would you say to them? Would it be a thank you? Would you want to ask them questions?
Every single time I think about like, oh, if I could meet an artist living or dead right now, who would it be? It always goes to Stevie Nicks, just because she is one of the main reasons I got into songwriting. I've always loved singing. I've always loved performing. I've been, doing it quote unquote professionally, at least in like lessons and like performing since I was like 8 or 9. Um, and I don't think I started really writing songs until I want to say like 14 or 15. I think the first song that like I fully wrote and was able to like show it to people and release it, I think I was like 16. And it was because of her, basically. I just like, my dad, when he's in the entertainment industry as well, and late 90s, he went on tour with Fleetwood Mac on their
Wow.
dance tour. It was like the first time they had been together as a band since they broke up, which was, I think, I want to say like late 70s, like early 80s. And, just growing up with like these stories of her being on tour and listening to Fleetwood Mac and listening to her, she just has this ethereal quality about her. And her lyrics are so, they just transport me to a place where I feel like I can do anything, because she was such a powerful female symbol during the time that Fleetwood Mac was popular, and then when she went on her own solo project. And it just gives me hope that someday I can get to that point. So if I could ever just like, if I ever saw her, I probably would break down in tears, to be completely honest. Like, I
Yeah.
would want to be cool and chill and be like, Stevie, like, thank you so much for everything you've done. Like, I really like look up to you. But I know that like as soon as it would happen, I would just see her and I would just immediately break down bawling and like probably like fall at her feet. Um,
I know personally, my dad always used to play Fleetwood Mac in the car, but he never went on tour with them, so that's quite a unique upbringing for sure.
I'm very excited for the day that we can all be in venues again together, sucking down like G&Ts and, talking outside the venue, and
Yeah.
kind of this community of musicians is what I really miss.
That's pretty much all I got on my end. I think this was a super interesting conversation. I definitely
Yeah,
got a
definitely.
sense of like who you are, what your influences are, and even like, your take on the industry. So first of all, just thank you for that.
No, thank you. This was really, really cool. I feel like because we've all been in isolation, I haven't really been able to talk about music with anyone who truly appreciates it or understands what the industry is right now. We all have to evolve and change. So I really appreciate you reaching out, and this was really cool. And it definitely gives me a lot to think about too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm super glad to hear that. I guess just to close it out, if you have any like upcoming stuff that people should know about or should keep their ears peeled for, so to speak, then do let me know.
Yeah, I mean, I released that Clive Twitch show that I was telling you about. I released my portion of it on my Instagram. So if anyone wants to check that out, I don't know, just keep an eye out for all of my quarantine tunes that'll probably be coming out hopefully this fall if all the studios open up.
Great. Well, thanks so much and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.